Have you ever noticed how the silence after your country is knocked out of the World Cup feels entirely different from any other kind of silence? It is not just disappointment. It is a heavy, collective mourning, a sudden, almost physical emptiness that sweeps across entire cities, emptying streets and leaving millions of people staring blankly at televisions. You could not care less about football for 3 years and 11 months. But the moment your nation's flag is on that screen and the final whistle blows on a loss, it feels like a personal tragedy. Why does 11 people kicking a ball on a piece of grass thousands of miles away dictate your emotional stability? Why does losing a World Cup match feel less like a game and more like exile? The answer goes back far beyond modern stadiums, television deals, or tactical formations. It goes back to the very dawn of human existence. To understand why a missed penalty kick can plunge a nation into despair, we have to look at the ancient logic of group survival, the psychological wiring that kept our ancestors alive, and the brutal reality of what it meant to belong to a tribe. For millions of years, human beings did not survive because we were the strongest, the fastest, or the most lethal creatures on the planet. We survived because we were the best at cooperating. A single human alone on the savannah was as good as dead. We had no claws, no venom, and no armor. Our only defense was the tribe. Belonging to a group meant sharing resources, protection from predators, and a chance to pass on your genes. Being cast out of the group meant certain death. Exile was not just a punishment, it was a death sentence. Because our survival depended so heavily on the tribe, our brains evolved to tie our emotional well-being to our social standing within that group. When the tribe succeeded, when they brought down a mammoth or defended their territory, every individual shared in the chemical reward. Dopamine and oxytocin flooded the brain, creating a powerful sense of unity, safety, and triumph. But when the tribe failed, when they were defeated by a rival group or lost their hunting grounds, the brain triggered cortisol and stress hormones. The pain of the tribe was felt as personal pain, because a weakened tribe meant your own survival was suddenly at risk. Have you ever experienced that physical sinking feeling in your chest when your team concedes a goal? Have you ever felt that surge of anxiety when a rival team approaches the penalty box? Let me know in the comments if you have ever had a moment where a football match genuinely ruined your week. I want to read about your worst heartbreak as a fan. That sinking feeling in your chest is not just you overreacting to a game. It is your ancient evolutionary hardware kicking in. The World Cup is the modern world's ultimate proxy for tribal warfare. It is the only global event where the lines of the tribe are drawn exactly along the lines of the nation. It is your flag, your anthem, your colors, and your people stepping onto the battlefield against another tribe. When the referee blows the whistle, your brain does not see a game of football. It sees a ritualized battle for survival. This is why the World Cup hits us differently than club football. You can choose your club. You can change your club, even if you are frowned upon for doing it. But you do not choose your country. You are born into it. It is your ultimate, inescapable tribe. And when your national team plays, the psychological phenomenon known as basking in reflected glory takes over. When they win, your brain genuinely interprets the victory as a personal success. Your testosterone levels rise, your confidence spikes, and you feel a profound sense of connection to millions of strangers wearing the same colors. You feel like you are part of an unstoppable, thriving tribe. But the dark side of this psychological wiring is what happens when we lose. In the evolutionary environment, being part of a defeated tribe meant you were vulnerable. It meant your territory was compromised, your resources were threatened, and your status was diminished. Your brain responds to a World Cup exit by triggering the same neural pathways associated with social rejection and physical pain. This phenomenon, known as cutting off reflected failure, explains why the collective mood of an entire country plummets after an elimination. The streets go quiet because, on a deep subconscious level, the tribe has been defeated. This brings up a fascinating question. If the pain of losing is so intense, why do we keep subjecting ourselves to it every 4 years? Why do we invest so much emotion into something over which we have absolutely zero control? If you agree that the emotional roller coaster of the World Cup is both beautiful and terrifying, hit the like button. Let us see how many of us share this unique form of tribal anxiety. The reason we keep coming back is that the potential reward outweighs the risk. The human brain craves the profound sense of unity that the World Cup provides. In our modern, fractured world, we are increasingly isolated. We live in individual apartments, stare at individual screens, and pursue individual goals. We have lost the deep, communal bonds that characterized human existence for millennia. The World Cup is one of the last remaining spaces where we can experience pure, unadulterated tribal unity. When millions of people cheer for the exact same thing at the exact same millisecond, the illusion of separation vanishes. For 90 minutes, you are not alone. You are part of something larger than yourself. When you understand this ancient logic, the extreme reactions to a World Cup loss start to make perfect sense. It is why grown men cry in the stands. It is why people cannot sleep after a bad refereeing decision. It is why a single mistake by a defender can result in national outrage. The brain is reacting as if the defender just let a predator into the camp. The logical part of your mind knows it is just a game, but your ancient survival wiring does not care about logic. It only cares about the safety and status of the tribe. Think about the concept of the scapegoat. After a devastating loss, the media and the fans almost always single out one player or a manager to bear the blame. They missed the penalty. They made the wrong substitution. They got the red card. In ancient societies, when the tribe faced a crisis, a famine, a plague, or a military defeat, they would often identify a scapegoat to expel from the community. By blaming one individual, the tribe could cleanse itself of the failure and maintain its unity. When a nation relentlessly criticizes a player who missed a crucial shot, they are participating in an ancient ritual of psychological self-preservation. They are saying, the tribe is not weak. This one individual is weak, and by casting them out, the tribe remains strong. What is your take on how fans treat players who make mistakes in big tournaments? Do you think the backlash is ever justified, or is it just our tribal instincts running out of control? Drop your perspective in the comments below. I am genuinely curious how you view this dynamic. This tribal dynamic also explains the intense joy and relief that comes with winning. When a nation wins the World Cup, the ensuing celebrations are unlike anything else in modern society. Complete strangers hug each other in the streets, social barriers dissolve, and a shared euphoria washes over the country. This is the ultimate expression of the evolutionary reward system. The tribe has conquered the world. The tribe is safe. But let us dig deeper into the actual neurology of a football fan during these high-stakes moments. Researchers have actually hooked up diehard supporters to functional MRI machines while they watched their teams play. What they found was astonishing. The regions of the brain that lit up when their team scored were the exact same regions associated with life-saving rewards. The ventral tegmental area, the nucleus accumbens, the pathways that flood your system with pure, unfiltered joy. But when the opposing team scored, or when a crucial penalty was missed, the anterior cingulate cortex fired rapidly. This is the part of your brain that processes physical injury. The human body literally cannot tell the difference between the emotional trauma of a World Cup elimination and the physical trauma of being struck. Your brain tells your body that you have been wounded in battle. This is where the concept of exile truly takes hold. In our ancestral past, losing a war against a neighboring tribe often meant you had to flee. It meant leaving your home, your shelter, your hunting grounds, and walking out into the unforgiving wilderness. The losers of ancient conflicts were exiled from the safety of their known world. When your country is knocked out of the World Cup, that feeling of sudden emptiness, that jarring realization that the tournament will go on without you, that other nations will continue to celebrate while you must pack up your flags and go home, mimics that ancient feeling of exile. You are no longer part of the festival. You have been cast out. Consider the language we use to talk about football. We do not use words associated with games. We use the language of war. We talk about attacking and defending. We talk about campaigns, captains, flanks, and casualties. We talk about sudden death. We talk about survival. The stadium is the Colosseum. The players are the warriors, and the fans are the citizens waiting to see if their empire will stand or fall. The psychological stakes are artificially inflated to match the real-life stakes of our ancestors. We have engineered a global spectacle designed to trick our biology into caring more than it ever rationally should. And the media amplifies this effect exponentially. In the weeks leading up to a major match, Newspapers and broadcasters construct narratives of national pride, historical rivalry, and redemption. They remind us of past defeats, invoking a sense of historical injustice that must be corrected. If you are playing a neighboring country, all the historical baggage between those two nations is suddenly projected onto 22 men running around a field. It is no longer just a quarterfinal match. It is a chance to settle a century-old score. The media acts as the tribal shamans, whipping the group into a frenzy, ensuring that every single citizen feels the weight of the impending battle. So, when the loss inevitably comes, the come-down is brutal. It is a psychological crash. The adrenaline that has been pumping through your veins for days suddenly has nowhere to go. The communal energy that bound you to your neighbors dissipates instantly. You are left alone with the silence. The flags are taken down from cars. The jerseys are stuffed into the back of the closet. The tribe is essentially going into hiding, waiting for the evolutionary threat to pass. If this exploration of human psychology and the hidden mechanics of our behavior resonates with you, make sure to subscribe. We dive deep into the unseen forces that shape our emotions and our world, and you will not want to miss the next breakdown. Think about the psychological toll on the players themselves. These are young men, often in their early 20s, carrying the evolutionary hopes of millions. When a player steps up to take a penalty in a shootout, they are not just trying to kick a ball past a goalkeeper. They are standing at the absolute pinnacle of human pressure. They know that if they miss, they will become the scapegoat. They will be the one blamed for the tribe's defeat. They will be metaphorically, and sometimes literally, exiled. The weight of that moment is something most human beings could never comprehend, let alone survive with their sanity intact. Yet, despite the anxiety, the heartbreak, and the inevitable feeling of exile that comes to 31 out of the 32 nations involved, the World Cup remains the most watched and beloved event in human history. Why? Because the possibility of glory, the possibility of being the ultimate, undisputed, victorious tribe, is the most intoxicating feeling our biology can offer. For a few brief weeks every 4 years, we are allowed to drop the pretense of modern, civilized individualism. We are allowed to paint our faces, scream at the top of our lungs, and weep openly in the arms of strangers. We are allowed to be exactly what we were always meant to be, a tribe fighting for survival, together. So, the next time your country is eliminated from a major tournament and you feel that crushing weight of disappointment, do not feel foolish for caring so much. You are not just mourning a football match. You are experiencing the echoes of 1,000,000 years of human history. You are feeling the ancient logic of group survival, a reminder that despite all our technology and individualism, we are still deeply, fundamentally connected to one another. The pain of the loss is simply the price we pay for the privilege of belonging. And when the next tournament rolls around, we will gladly pay it all over again, hoping that this time, our tribe will be the last one standing.